I should probably tell you about the horses and Sorry to Bother You. I didn't because while I could assume that people would have seen Pan's Labyrinth or at least have some familiarity with it, I couldn't do the same for Sorry to Bother You, and I wanted this video to serve as both an analysis for people who are familiar with the source material, as well as an introduction for people who weren't, while still giving them the same opportunity to feel all the things that I did on my first viewing. It looks like it worked. If you still want to proceed and don't know about the horses, here it is. Mr. I'm gonna eat your blood over here wants to turn his workers into literal actual horse people so they can work more efficiently in his warehouses and factories. They are the most obvious example of magical realism in this movie. Fantastical creatures. But I think that they muddled the message.
Maybe it's saying that capitalism dehumanizes them and
maybe the artist is being literal. Maybe worry-free is turning workers into horses.
So this is a movie about race. Not exclusively, this movie effectively portrays race and how it relates to class. For more on that biz, check the base video that this is a footnote to. So the horse people are trying to show this racialization to create class. And it draws parallels between horse people and black people. The traits of horses that they emphasize to look for in Cash's possible transformation are traits stereotyped onto black people. Large nostrils, big dick, physical labor. All of the horses shown are brown too, matching black people's skin.
Dude, I'm from East Oakland.
This way, it's trying to show continual efforts to make black people seem non-human. Animalistic, with a brute strength literally designed for slavery and hard labor. But race is invented, and by making the horse people have genuine genetic and physical differences, it makes real-world race divides seem less invented. My friend Jalen has a good video on why fantasy race analogies nearly universally fall short. So watch that, but I'll give you the gist. The justifications people make for real-life oppressions are inventions, but when you have fantasy characters oppressed, it tends to be for their fantasy characteristics. In X-Men, mutants are oppressed for their powers, no fictional characteristics, and there's some inherent justification to the fear that mutants might accidentally do a lot of harm with their powers when you constantly show mutants accidentally doing a lot of harm with their powers. And we see the horses do superhuman feats. Their difference is not wholly invented. I like the message that even if there were actual physiological differences, equality would still be necessary, but when you're not just being speculative, but historically analogous, you suggest those actual physiological differences also exist in black people. We make race analogies and analogies in general to create a space with some distance to talk about sensitive subjects. That's also a core benefit of magical realism, so when we're 2/3 of the way through a film about race and class and it brings in a clumsier, less precise way of talking about the dehumanization of racism and capitalism, it weakens the storytelling for the payoff of shock value. I don't usually play script doctor, but if I were to try and fix this while still having horse people, racial analogy, and speculative fiction commentary on capitalists, I would make it so the horse people don't have anything special about them. Make it so they don't actually have increased strength or stamina. They just look like horse people now. Rich people already delude themselves into believing all sorts of weird shit, and capitalism is already less effective at making things work, so make horse people are better workers one of those falsehoods. It hits all the marks. Plus, since anyone can become a horse person,
it works for 70% of humans who take the fusing catalyst.
You can just straight up make the great replacement your bullshit racial fear. And I get it, you want to keep the horses because they embody this intersection between race and class. Their introduction is a big wow that heightens the emotion of the rest of the movie. Very magical realism. But you gotta do something different with it. Instead, you're just making a simplified version of what we've already been getting, bringing with it all of the problems that that simplification brings. So I didn't talk about the horse people because I wanted to keep that wow, but also because they make the movie thematically worse.